Many people hold the illusion that the womb is some kind of separate reality, that it is mostly always positive, and that, most especially, it is immune from outside influence. The reality is quite different. The womb is more like a chalice, inside which all kinds of things, a complex curry of things, is taking place. So many things influence the baby that is gestating at that particular time, and in that particular womb. To give you a very, and I mean very limited list of some of the influences that are experienced by a baby inside of a mother's womb. You have things like what the mother is drinking, what the mother is eating, how both mother and father think and feel towards the baby and about the pregnancy, what mother and father are thinking and feeling about their lives and about the world in general during that time, how much support or lack thereof the mother experiences during gestation, what is occurring within the collective consciousness of greater society at that time, the culture in the area where that baby is gestated, the non-physical realms associated with that place and time, what sounds are in the environment, the air the mother breathed there, the energy and makeup of the land and the area itself, the living and non-living things that are inside the home, or city, or environment, like objects, materials, animals, plants, minerals, the smells that are in the environment, what the planets were doing in the solar system at that particular time, the seasons during that gestation, the climate, and the weather. And of course, all of these things influence how the womb is functioning at a physical level. Things like placental attachment, things like amniotic fluid levels. The reason that all this is so incredibly important is that when you are inside your mother's womb, you are essentially being built and formulated. The mental, emotional, and especially physical aspects of you were being formed at this time. And in this way, they were being formed by these original influences. So you could consider these original influences to be the building blocks of who you are in this particular life. I want you to think of this original building block dynamic as being a little bit like building a foundation. All of the subsequent blocks you added to that foundation during your infancy, during your early years, during adolescence, during your adulthood, they're just blocks you added to that foundation. This means that gestational experience and influence is more like the core or foundation of who you are in this life. And before you came to this life, you chose that foundation and those specific influences very intentionally. And this is where a really incredible life hack comes into play. Everyone comes to a point in their life where they feel like they're in need of a powerful reset. These are time periods in our life where it feels like a very major chapter of our life is closing, or a major cycle is coming to an end. In these times, it's less about really needing to go fly off and experience something completely new, as it is a need to go back to your roots, to go back to the beginning. In order to return to your essence in this way, one of the greatest life hacks you can do is to return to the original influences that you experienced in this particular life. In other words, go back to your origins. The life hack is this. Return for whatever period of time you feel intuitively called to return for, to the place where you were inside your mother's womb, the place you were gestated. And remember, the closer you get, the better. What this causes is a full system reset. If you look at the cycles of life as occurring in actually a spiral pattern, each time one of these major loops in a spiral or cycles completes, you have this returning back to this point, at which point you're ready to step onto the next loop or the next cycle in your life destiny. Going back to the place you were gestated helps you to get into that space where you are ready to step into that next loop in that cycle of your life. Engaging with those influences that made up the building blocks of who you are in this particular life. It restores you. It resets you. It creates a strength from deep within your core. It puts you back at that 0 point from which you can choose a completely new direction in life. It puts you back into your correct state. When you go back to the place where you were gestated, perhaps the most important thing for you to do is to drink the water that your mother drank when she was gestating you. Again, the closer that you get to this specific water source, the better. This water was the water that she was drinking in the primary phase of pregnancy with you. This was the water that formed the building blocks of your core self in this particular life. In the very first portion of pregnancy, it is whatever water your mother is drinking and with it making that creates the amniotic fluid that you spent your entire gestational period inside of. And the fetal heartbeat begins to beat around 5 to 6 weeks of pregnancy. This means the information and energy of this specific water is what developed your heart. The multidimensional aspects of water would blow your mind. It would blow your mind. Water, first and foremost, is a keeper of information. It retains the knowing and the memory of anything it comes into contact with, sometimes for thousands upon thousands of years. It carries the memory of whatever place it is located and the happenings there. I want you to begin to think about water like a mirror that retains the reflection of anything that it has been in contact with. By drinking water, I mean any water, you are essentially informing yourself. Even if you're not yet at the point to be able to be consciously aware of what information you are absorbing, that information is being transferred to your being and to your consciousness. When you drink that specific water that formed that foundation of what made you in this particular life, you are being restored, you are being reset, and you are being reminded, because it is the knowing and the information in that particular water that formed building blocks of you. Some other things that you should consider when you've returned to the place where you were gestated in order to create a reset for yourself are: eat the foods there, breathe the air there, walk barefoot on the land, do any specific meditations you feel called to do there. Visit the home that your mother lived in when she was gestating you, or spend time in that area as close as you can be to it. Engage with and potentially bring home minerals and stones or dirt or sand that want to come with you from that area. Immerse yourself in the culture and cultural activities and experiences that place has to offer. Observe everything. Smell the scents in the area. Listen to all the sounds there. Sounds you would have heard when you were inside your mother's womb. Music she would have listened to. Touch things to feel the textures of everything in that area. Spend time with the flora and fauna. Visit any bodies of water she would have visited or swam in. Sit beneath a nearby tree that might have witnessed the pregnancy. Interact with the art in the area, especially done by artists originally from that area, because that is to interact with the consciousness of the people there. That being said, visit any people who may have been around during her pregnancy. Learn what was happening in that area at that specific time that your mother was pregnant with you. Learn the history of the area itself. Go to any sites or places that she would have visited while pregnant with you, such as ritual sites, any streets she would have walked, nature she would have spent time in, restaurants she would have dined in, the place you were born, churches she might have visited or attended, markets she would have shopped at, etc. Again, the more information you have about that entire gestation, the better. But if all you have is the city where you were born, or even the country where some of you were born, that can be enough to create a reset in your system. It really is the better it gets kind of scenario. So if you feel like you're in need of a very powerful reset, try out this life hack and see how powerful it truly is. Have a good week. If you liked this video, be sure to share it, like it, and also subscribe to my channel so you can see more content like this. But I want to personally thank you for taking the initiative and having the bravery to step into this space of awareness, not only for yourself, but for the benefit of those around you.